for joining us for today's session on online marketing basics for your small business today. And I'm so very happy to be here. This is our first year running the expo virtually that I've been a part of, but I hope that everything's been a success for you all, Van. I know that there is always every year a wealth of information going out to the entrepreneurs and nonprofit officers like yourselves. And so I'm always very excited to participate in this event every year. So thank you all so much for joining us. Just a little bit before we get started, I know this is a webinar and we don't have time for individual introductions, but I would love for you all to type a little bit of information about you all in the chat. I'd love to know your names, what stage of business you all are in, what sorts of marketing tools or channels you're using now, and just any information you'd like to gain from today's presentation. I would love to hear from you all in the chat. And also, like Van stated as well, please feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat or the QA function, and I'll make sure that I will be looking at the Q&A in the chat throughout the presentation as well. But before we get started, I'd like to give a little bit of an introduction about the organization that I work for, the Small Business Development Center. I'm not sure, and feel free to raise your hand or post in the chat how many of you all have already heard of the Small Business Development Centers already. If not, and you haven't heard of us already, we are a nationwide support network for entrepreneurs like yourself who are looking to either start or grow an existing small business. So we offer no-cost trainings as well as one-on-one counseling for entrepreneurs like yourself. We assist with things like registration, creating a business plan, getting you prepared to access loan capital, or getting you bank ready. Along with our team, Van and the other librarians there, we also assist with market research, which is something that I always recommend the county library system or I recommend the county library for research, because they have a bunch of databases and information for you all to access as entrepreneurs. And we also provide training such as this program. And I'm seeing some things come through in the chat. I have a question here already from Muhammad. Are we a part of SBA? So the SBDCs are a program that is facilitated and funded in part by the SBA. So we are a SBA program, Muhammad. So thank you for that question as well. And I'm seeing you all are starting, or some of you all are starting businesses, already have some things in place. And it looks like a lot of you all are looking for information for how to get structured with your online presence for your business. And I see some of you all are even in the idea stage. Today's presentation is really going to be very, very helpful to help you all understand what it's going to take to create a foundation or outline for your online marketing strategy. So thank you all so much for all of these introductions. I'm just reading them here. One of the things I will make sure you all have access to is my contact information at the end of this presentation, so that if you all are wanting to sign up for a one-on-one session to talk more about some of these tools and resources and how to use this stuff actually within your business, you all will have access to my contact information so we can get that scheduled. So let's go ahead and jump in. We have an hour long today, and I wish I had, all day to speak to you guys, because, online marketing is one of those topics that we could really get into and spend hours on talking and planning for your business. But today's presentation is going to be devoted to learning about the 5 things that you need to know when thinking about online marketing strategies for your small business. First things first, you have to understand who you're talking to. And so today we'll be learning about figuring out the how to understand or learn more about your target customer segments. What is a target customer segment? We'll learn a little bit more about that. We're also going to learn about what you need to say, what type of content should you be posting, or what type of information should you be providing to these target customers. We're going to also learn about when to say it, best practices for content posting times, and then also learn a little bit more about the various social media platforms and online platforms for marketing, and then wrap everything up with some implementation and taking that information with you into your business and learning how to get started on your online marketing strategy. But first things first, before we kind of dive into these 5 things and start learning about how to understand your target market segment, or how to segment your customers to better understand what groups of people or organizations will realistically and consistently find value from your products. We first want to start off by thinking about the why. Oftentimes when I meet with clients and we're talking about social media, developing a website, we all know as entrepreneurs that we need to be on social media and we need to be online, but oftentimes we haven't really thought about the why and created actual feasible and tangible goals for using online marketing channels and tools. So the first step into creating your online marketing strategy and plan is to come up with a SMART goal. And a SMART goal, and SMART is really an acronym. It's not just because the goal is smart and intelligent. There's a reason why we use the acronym SMART. And SMART goals are really designed in a way that will provide your project structure and give you actual guidelines to what actually defines success. So you know you need to be on social media. You know you're going to use Facebook. And I ask you, well, are you going to use social media within your marketing for your business? And you say yes, but what is the reason? How are we going to make the determination of what platform to use and why? So a SMART goal is going to help you as the entrepreneur outline exactly how you're going to measure your success online, why, and kind of guide you through your marketing strategy there. So the different components of a SMART goal are, number one, it has to be specific. And when we say specific, let's say, for instance, you know that you need to increase your brand loyalty within your relationship with your customers. But who is going to be needed to accomplish that goal? What exactly are you trying to accomplish in terms of increasing that brand loyalty? When do you expect that outcome to be accomplished? And even going as far as to understanding and thinking through what steps are going to be needed to take along the way in order for you to achieve that goal. The next component of a SMART goal, it has to be measurable. And so we want to make sure that a goal, you can go back to that goal and test the success using a specific measurement. Your SMART goal also needs to be achievable. If you are still in the idea stage, or if you are just now starting your business and starting to use Facebook or a company website or Twitter, you don't necessarily want to say you're going to make $100,000 in 1 month in sales just from your Facebook leads within the first month of business. That probably isn't going to be very, very achievable for your startup small business. So you have to make sure that when you're coming up with goals, they are also achievable, and they also need to be relevant as well as time bound. So when you're coming up with a goal, you want to add detail into that goal. You don't want to just say, I want to increase my sales from Facebook by 10%. How long is it going to take you to achieve that goal? Do we want to achieve that in quarter 3 of year 1 of my business? Or do I want to achieve that in 1 month of sales? So coming up with SMART goals, clear objectives for your business to be online is going to be the first step in success for developing your online marketing strategy. And just some examples of goals, and I'm going to challenge you all right now to just take a couple of minutes while we're going through the presentation today and start to jot down some components of some potential SMART goals for your small business. What are the reasons why, and what are you looking to accomplish by using these different social media platforms or your company website? Actually start to think about what your goals are. And some examples for goals are, some of your short-term goals can be to build website traffic, and you want to add in more detail to all of these examples, but you could be looking to build website traffic or increase conversions. And a conversion is really the act of converting just a visitor of that marketing channel to an actual paying customer. So how will you actually, or do you want to increase your conversions? Do you want to build engagement rates or increase the amount of times that people actually are interacting with your social media postings? Or you can even have some longer term goals, such as just building brand recognition or brand awareness increasing SEO, and we'll talk a little bit about SEO and what that means, but SEO is really the process of growing the quality and quantity of your website traffic. SEO stands for search engine optimization. So it really refers to how well your business stands when it comes to actually showing up in the results of search engines. But there are all different types of goals that you can come up with for your online marketing strategy and plan, but you have to make sure that you start off with a clear objective. Next, after you have come up with an understanding of why you are going online, next, you have to understand who you are going to be talking to. Now, when you're thinking about your small business, it's very, very easy to get excited. We're very, very excited about the products and services that we're offering. We also fully believe in the value that we are providing. When you're thinking about defining or the importance of target marketing, you want to start with the definition of what a target market is. A target market is simply a group of consumers that are identified as likely purchasers of your product or service. So typically, your target customers or your target market segment differs from other consumers based on different factors that they have or different similarities or factors that they share. These factors can include demographics, behavioral patterns that these customers share, or even psychographic traits. Why do we even choose a target market? If you have an amazing product, why can't I just sell to everyone? You can. You can sell to everyone, but you cannot target everyone. And the reason why in choosing a target market is very, very important because it's going to enable you as the business owner to direct your resources, which are very limited. You as the business owner are an accountant in some days. You're a sales manager. You're a marketing manager. You're wearing all of these hats. So choosing distinct market segments or customer segments will allow you to direct your limited resources to those customers that have high potential for sales growth or consistent sales, who have a consistent interest in the product and will consistently find value in what you're offering. So targeting a specific market, it doesn't mean that you are excluding people who don't fit that criteria, but it means that you are allowing yourself to focus your marketing dollars and your marketing time and your messaging on a specific market that is more ideal and more likely to continue to buy from you than other types of customers. So that's really the reason why target marketing is very, very important when we think about online marketing, marketing as a whole, and just in general within the realm of small business. And there are two different types of ways typically that you can segment your customers. And if we look at the slide here, for those of you all who are already in business, you already have a little bit of a head start because you already have an existing customer base to analyze. So if you are already in business, or even if you are not, and you're still in that idea stage or you're still starting up, start by considering your existing customers. And if you're not already in business, start by analyzing or coming up with a buyer persona or profile of a type of person or people who would find interest in what you are developing. So consider those existing customers or who you can imagine that customer profile to be. Then you also want to do the same analysis with what you are providing, that product or service. So let's say, for instance, you are creating a bicycle and you've already decided or considered an attractive segment or a group of people as maybe older adults that have middle to high levels of income that are re-engaged with their health and fitness. If you've already started to identify them as a group of people that you're going to target, as you are starting to develop your that bicycle product, you can keep that group of people in mind as you design not only the bicycle itself and the features of that bicycle, but also how you're going to communicate the value of that bicycle. So you want to do some analysis of what you're offering. And then the third step is to figure out what common traits these different groups of people share. And there's two different groups or types of segmenting that are very, very popular, but you can segment your customers based on what traits you feel are relevant. But demographic traits are always going to be a good place to start when you're thinking about segmenting your customers. And demographics are the subsets of a target market that have or share particular attributes. So demographic traits are those drier facts or those superficial traits of a person or a group of people. Demographic traits include qualities like age, sex, family status, education level, income, occupation, and even race. And then you also have psychographics. And psychographics refer to information about a particular person or a population of people, their attributes, what their aspirations are, and other psychological criteria. So psychographic information includes things like your buyer's habits, their hobbies, their values, what their spending habits are. So demographic information really explains the who about the buyer, about your buyers or your potential buyers, and the psychographics explain why they actually buy. So you start by building your customer profiles with the demographic information, the dry facts, and then expound on those profiles and strengthen those with psychographic traits and behavioral traits as well. One of the things that the library has access to is market research databases that will help you maybe better understand where maybe physical locations that customers are that have different demographic traits, and where there may be higher groupings of certain demographic traits than others. So a lot of different information that is available to assist you with your small business once you start actually developing your online marketing strategy at the library there as well. Just a couple of quick examples on customer profiles or segments. And as I stated before, we do one-on-one counseling. So I would love if you all are interested, and once you get my contact information, if you want to maybe get some assistance on developing your customer profiles or any of this stuff we're talking about today, I'll be available for one-on-ones. But a couple examples. This example is for a sandwich shop. And we're actually right around my lunchtime, so I'm already thinking about a potential sandwich or something like that. But if we were developing a sandwich shop business, here's just a quick example of a target customer profile or segment for this sandwich shop. And so this sandwich shop is named Speedy Subs, and it's a sandwich shop that's located adjacent to a gas station. It's in a suburban town. Because it's so close to the highway, Speedy Subs expects many of its customers will be travelers. It defines its target market as adults with low to moderate incomes looking for a fast but filling meal. They use their billboard to advertise low prices and package deals, and their marketing features race cars to emphasize their quick service. So you see that Speedy Subs started by analyzing their business's situation, the location, and what type of customers would frequent their business. And they used that information to develop their marketing strategy and figure out what marketing tools they were going to use and how. And once they made that determination, and once they figured out that their customers are most likely going to be travelers with low to moderate income, they were able to design their products based on that information, and also figure out what type of marketing tools, aka a billboard, to use that would highlight their products to that customer profile. And then give me a thumbs up. Are you able to still see the slide on the screen? Okay, great. I'm not sure, Evelyn, if you're not seeing the example, I'm reading these off. So this will be something I can provide to you one-on-one, or if you send me an email, I will have copies of the slides as well, with the notes and things on them as well, Evelyn. But this is an example I'm reading. And that's just an example. It's going to be different based on your industry, based on your distinct value proposition. And so this is something that it will take a little bit of time to develop, but the steps here are on the slide, and the example I can provide you as well. So the next step, after you have taken your time and come up with at least one or several different target customer segments, now you can move and start to describe and figure out what content to post. How many times have you went to a small business's website or one of their social media pages, and you went to go and see what the business was posting, and every post was a direct advertisement? We're selling you something directly. When you go to one of those pages or you have that type of interaction with a small business, does it make you feel confident about their knowledge of that product or service, or does it make you feel like they just have something to sell? So finding the right content is very, very important to make sure that your customers believe in your brand, and it also is going to be what helps build customer relationships. So content marketing is a term that has become very, very relevant when it comes to online marketing and marketing in general. It used to be back in the older days of marketing where everything was mass marketed. There wasn't a lot of differentiation between marketing tools that were used. Products weren't really touted to have a lot of differences between them. But now we are realizing the vast amount of differences between people and the products and services that we like to interact with. And so because of that, content marketing has become very, very important. Content marketing answers your audience's questions. It helps you build that trust. It helps you develop those relationships, improve conversions, and also generate leads. So if you are consistent in your brand messaging, it's going to be one of those many factors that helps your business grow. And if we think about big brands consistently know how to portray their brand at every different customer touch point. And a touch point is all of those different ways or places that a customer might interact or see your brand name. And big brands understand that you have to be consistent, and it's all about finding the right content and becoming a source of information and knowledge also for your customers. So I'm going to pull up an example here of something that can help you with your content marketing, because it's very, very tricky when you are running a business and managing all of the different components of a business. Who has the time to figure out what type of content is good to post? What articles are relevant? What is getting good traction out there? What do people want to hear about? How do you find that information and know what is good content? The first step is to, number one, diversify your postings. It's okay to post with advertisement, but you don't want that to be the majority of your postings. So you want to make sure that your posting schedule is diverse. And let me go ahead and show you this tool that you all can use. And there are various tools such as this one that will help you come up and find relevant content that's been vetted already to post on your website or your social media pages. And one of these websites is called Buzzsumo. Right now, do you all see the website Buzzsumo right now on your screen, Dan? Okay, thank you so much. So when you're looking at Buzzsumo, this is called a content curation tool, and there are various ones that are available. There's Buzzsumo, there's Feedly, and there's a bunch of different ones. But the premise of these tools is that you can type in different key search terms. So if you were a baker and you have a bakery business and you're wondering what types of articles and information and news is being posted in relation to bakery businesses or baking as a whole, you can just type in baking. And right now, this will pop up all of the articles in Buzzsumo's databases with all of the relevant information about their social media, or excuse me, their engagement. So right now, I'm sorting this list by total engagement. And so you can see that some of these articles are fairly recent. Some of them are not going to be relevant. We have articles from June, because right now I'm searching and sorting by total engagement. I can sort this by so many different factors here, parameters. So if I am only using Facebook and Pinterest for my social media channels, then I'll know that I can probably sort those by Facebook engagement to see exactly what articles are performing best there. I can even just do a basic search, sort it by publish date, and see exactly what is relevant in terms of content right now for bakery or baking, and see what kind of informational articles I can find, or what even figure out trends related to the baking industry in that industry as a whole. So overall, you want to find tools to make your life a little bit easier when it comes to social media posting and scheduling and finding content. And so this is just one of those tools that can be helpful for you all. Let me go ahead and turn my screen share back. Give me just a second. Okay. Oh, here we are. I have so many different tabs open. I apologize. I had to find the right screen. You all should see the PowerPoint presentation again now.
Yes, we see it.
So thank you so much, ma'am. As you can see on the graphic on this slide here, there are a number of different reasons that customers reach out to brands on social media. So you want to make sure that you are thinking in advance of your customers, or thinking ahead of your customers' needs, wants, and desires. So the number one reason that people reach out to brands on social media is to ask a question or to get more information. I oftentimes will click on a business's social media page to figure out if they take debit cards, if they're cash only, what is the parking situation, what are their hours of business. So we know that as customers, we oftentimes reach out to different businesses to ask questions. We often also reach out to businesses if there is an issue with a product or service. So we know that negative information can travel a little bit faster than positive. And so to prepare for that, when you are creating everything that you put online for your small business, you want to have your customers' profiles and their needs in mind. So already preparing by creating a frequently asked question page or section, asking for their contact information in everything that you provide or do online. So if you're posting a helpful blog about top 5 trends within baking right now, make sure that you're requesting their email address to get more helpful information and tips and tricks from your business. So you want to think in advance. You want to try to think ahead of your customers. Keep your posting and your content diverse, and use tools to help you find various content and information. Now, the question of when to post on social media is one that does not necessarily have an exact answer. This question is very, very dependent on both your industry, the types of content you're posting, and so there's a lot of different variables that will affect when is the best time to post. But overall, for some types of businesses, there have been some standards that have been created or some best practices that have been found. And overall, when you're thinking about posting on social media or your company's website, typically Thursdays are the best day of the week. And that's just for Facebook, but overall, it's been kind of seen in several studies. But during the week is typically going to be the best time to post. And during the day, it's also seen as probably the safer time to post on social media. And there are reasons why. And the first reason is that most people that are working traditional 9-to-5 jobs are available or at work, and oftentimes scrolling on their phones or looking for other distracting things to do. And so posting during the day gives you the largest amount of reach for people that are working traditional jobs to have access to your content. What happens in the evening and on the weekends is people are taking time for ourselves finally, and running errands, or spending time with family members, or commuting home from work or to and from work. So posting on the evenings can be tricky and challenging sometimes But that's where it all goes back to your industry. So if you are a small business consultant, then this methodology for posting during the week, during business hours is typically going to make the most sense. However, if you are a club promoter, or you're promoting an entertainment business or a service, you might actually have the opposite results, where people are on social media on the weekends, but they may be looking for activities. They're looking for things to do. So it really is going to start and go all the way back to you identifying your target customer segments, what their buying behaviors are, what their patterns are, and then developing your posting schedule based on the the traits of your chosen customer segments. Because what works for a business counselor is not going to work for an entertainer in terms of posting times and scheduling times. I'm going to briefly show you one last example of a tool here that will be very, very helpful and impactful for you all in terms of scheduling your posts. And this is called, or you all can let me know in the chat also, how many of you all have heard of a content automation tool? And if not, I'm going to show you the one that we use with our organization. If I can actually get logged in. I just had this pulled up. They might have changed my password on me. Nonetheless, I'll just show you the home page for this site here. And what a content automator allows you to do is schedule all of your postings. I keep going back to how busy you all are as entrepreneurs, or if you're still in that idea stage, be ready to be busy. And this is just another tool that will make your social media and online marketing life a lot easier. It is something that is a paid subscription monthly. I believe now it's about $20. Oh, and they even have a free one where you can use or post to one social media channel. So they have various pricings a month, but it can be as little as $5 a month. But the main things to note, or the main purpose of these content automator tools, is that it allows you to directly schedule and plan all of your posts across all of your different social media platforms. So I highly recommend creating something that I'm going to show you all at the end of the presentation, which is called a content calendar. You don't want to be every day coming up with new content to post, struggling to figure out what you're going to post for that day of the week. You want to make it easier on yourself by creating some type of schedule and then using some type of content automator to actually schedule your post, so that all you have to do is let them post on their own, and then you can follow up with those posts and kind of navigate through your own analytics as well. So finding a content automator that works for you is also going to be very, very helpful. Pairing that with something that does content curation can make your posting life a lot easier. And I will go back to the presentation now. Okay, there we are. And those are just a couple examples, but there are various different online content curation tools and also different content automation tools as well. And even I was just about to say, thank you, Gwen, as I was just popping up my chat. Also, Facebook and Twitter and most of the popular social media platforms allow scheduling as well. Of course, there's a few limitations with the scheduling that's built in, but I was just going to also mention that is kind of an option as well for scheduling. This Twitter and Facebook definitely have those options built in. Now, you figured out or learned a little bit and started to research what times and when is going to be the best time to post, but what about where? Oftentimes I ask a client, well, what kind of marketing are you going to do online? And they say, oh, I'm going to use social media, that blanket term that we love to use. But what social media? Where is the right platform for your content? And once again, just kind of like the when and the timing of your posting, finding the right platform starts by going all the way back to your target customer segments and understanding who your audience is and what your goals are for trying to, or why you're trying to reach them. Once you go back to that understanding, we can talk through and figure out what platforms are going to be best. Just a little bit of information about these platforms here. Facebook, we know, is the largest social media platform in terms of actual users. Very, very large population. It's actually up over 2.7 billion now. I remember when I initially created this presentation, it was down at 1.3 billion, I remember. So all in all, Facebook is very, very large, but because of that, Facebook has a lot of noise. There's a lot of things happening on Facebook, so it can be sometimes challenging for you as a small business owner to use Facebook to reach new audiences. So Facebook can be a great platform for building the loyalty or building your brand loyalty for your existing customer base. We know as individuals, we use Facebook oftentimes to build relationships or to keep contact with old friends, family members, colleagues. And so because of how Facebook is used by individuals, you want to keep that in mind because it makes Facebook a great platform for building your loyalty of existing customers, but it's not necessarily as good for reaching new audiences because it has such a very large population. And your posts the posts that you create on Facebook have a limited reach now, even within your own networks. It used to be you could interact directly with people from your Facebook business page, but now you're a lot more limited in terms of the types of interactions you can have with customers. But Facebook can be very, very helpful for building brand loyalty and relationships. Twitter Twitter is also a great platform to help build awareness for your brand. Twitter is very, very short speak, so you can only use 280 characters or less. Twitter also utilizes that hashtag feature, which organizes conversations around a word or phrase, which we saw come out several years ago. And so people oftentimes search hashtags to learn what people are talking about and engage in conversations about different topics or trends. So Twitter is very, very helpful and oftentimes used to relay news very quickly. Sometimes Twitter is quicker than local news networks in getting out information. So you as a business owner can heavily use Twitter to provide real-time updates to your customers. Even combining that with offline engagement, such as events, is very, very popular and helpful on Twitter. And so it's very, very good at helping you generate buzz for your company. And it's also very helpful in actually having conversations with your customers. So unlike Facebook, where it's not that easy to directly converse with your customer base, Twitter is all about those quick conversations and quick pieces of news and information that you're getting out there to customers. Other social media platforms I want to note here, the last one that's on this list is a newer addition, TikTok. And TikTok is a newer social media platform. It's very, very known or focused on the younger audience and generation. It's known for its short form videos, but it's very similar to Pinterest and Instagram in the fact that it is best known for its visual-based media. So everything that you see on TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram is going to be visually focused, whether that's a picture or a video. And with platforms like this, obviously, if you are a product-based business, these platforms are very, very impactful because you're able to display your products actually visually and show your customers what they may be interacting with or those benefits of those features. But be careful because there's a high level of saturation on these platforms as well. So TikTok is not necessarily going to be good for building brand loyalty because you're not able to build or post or build deepening relationships, but it is helpful for conversation and putting your product or service out there. And don't think that just because you have a service-based company that you're not able to still use these visual graphic-based platforms. You want to utilize the power of the caption and utilize other features of those platforms as well to still get value. But obviously, if you are selling a product, then YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and those things are usually more relevant platforms to you. And then one last one I'll mention in terms of platforms here is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very, very powerful when it comes to B2B sales or business to business transactions and those type of small businesses, because LinkedIn not only is the most utilized platform for small audiences, it does boast the largest amount of users that are aged 30 to 49, but LinkedIn has a very, very narrow and niche focus on entrepreneurship, professional networking, and job searching. So because of that, the platform is very, very useful to entrepreneurs who are looking for B2B lead generation, because you're able to directly connect with other small businesses like your own, and it's built for business. So that's another one to mention. If you are doing business to business sales or planning on it, LinkedIn can be very, very helpful in terms of social media platforms. Now, as we wrap up for today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the how. You've learned a lot of information today about planning and creating your online marketing strategy, but how do you take these next steps and actually implement some of these things that we've learned? The first step is going to be for you to create a content calendar. So before you can go out and start doing all of this posting and engaging with your customers, you need to have a place to put all of this information and get it scheduled and planned to make it easier on yourself. The first place where you'll get that accomplished is that social media marketing calendar. And this is just one example of a template that I have to share with you all. There are various templates online, but I do have this one available if you all are wanting to use this content calendar template. But as you can see, the content calendar template is just for you to get everything planned that you plan to post for the week. And you can even change these different social media platforms to the ones that you're using. Type in the actual content that you're going to be posting, copy the links, put the images in, and actually get everything scheduled and move that either over directly into the different platforms that you'll be using, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and schedule those posts manually in the platform, or using a content automator like Buffer or Post Planner. And I think Buzzsumo actually does some content automation as well, and putting them in there for the week and letting them post. Now, it isn't just that simple. We know that we need to follow up on these SMART goals and make sure that the goals that we set are being reached. And if not, we need to follow up and make adjustments. So and that kind of goes back to creating those SMART goals in the beginning, but you want to make sure that you start to get comfortable with the different insights, metrics, and statistics that are available through each of the different social media platforms. So Facebook, the Facebook suite, which includes Instagram as well now, has made it as well. They try to make it easier on you as the business owner to understand how things are performing that you are posting. So that is definitely something that I would also love to schedule a one-on-one. I would love to kind of walk you through some of those analytics that are available on these different platforms to kind of help you understand if your SMART goals are measuring up to what you have dictated for success. And I think that is going to be all that I have for today. And I will turn my screen share off and see if we have any questions. The last resource, I know I'm just sharing a bunch of different tools and resources here, but the last thing I have available for you all is an actual social media strategy template that pulls everything together. So let me make sure that I'm showing you all this. You all should be seeing a Word document right now. And this is the template for creating your social media strategy for your small business. And this template will kind of walk you through step by step everything you need to plan to get your business ready to start posting on social media. So you'll start by choosing your social media networks, do an analysis of the competition, do an analysis on what networks are most popular among the competition, starting to think about what your areas or topics of expertise are. So this plan will walk you through creating everything you need for your social media template, or excuse me, strategy, and kind of get you prepared to take your business online and accomplish all of those SMART goals that you have for your small business. And with that, I will leave it up for questions now. And thank you all so much.